What's going on, and welcome to another detailing video of my M5. Today we're doing some rock chip repair. I'm going to be using this Dr. Color Chip system, which I've used on a few other cars. I like just the fill-in method, so I'll show you kind of what I like to do. And I'm not very good at like the whole smoothing over thing. So my method may be a little different than other videos you'll see. So this is kind of just the basic kit here. And then the other tool that I would definitely recommend getting is this thing, which is like the Lowell Cornell detailing tool or painting pen or something like that. It's insanely fine, and this is great, especially for like hood rock chips and things on the bumper and things like that. So this is going to be a huge benefit to have something like this in your arsenal, and Larry Cosilla does a video with this thing specifically, but otherwise we are going to be using this chip system. And then it does come with a tiny little paintbrush, which I will use on the areas where the paint protection film pulled up some of the clear, so it's an area where there's more paint missing. So I'll probably be using the little paintbrush there, and then this will be pretty much on the rest of the car. You definitely want to polish first, do this, and then you will put your protection on after the fact. And this does say wait like 3 days to do that, but I'm not waiting 3 days to put a coating on the car. It's just rock chip stuff. So as long as this is dry, I think we'll be okay. All right, so this is by far the worst area. This is where the paint protection film was. I will say, thankfully, it's at least lower on the car. So when you walk up to it, it's not as obvious once we get this fixed here. Respray would make sense, but for now, let's do this. Make sure you prep this. I already wiped it down. Isopropyl alcohol, carport eraser, something like that. I'm just gonna put that in here. You're supposed to put it in it and next to it, or really next to it, but I'm gonna do both because that's what I wanna do. And then you'll level it with this next step here. So you don't have to be perfect. I would say make sure you add enough so when you level it, there's enough there to fill it in. So the color differential is one issue, and then the fact that it's lower than the other parts of the car, the paint, also an issue. So I'm gonna work in just this area because there is a drying time we're working with here. You're supposed to put it next to it, but I'm doing both. So this is how I want to do it. Just keep that in mind, guys. On our supplied towel here. So let's just do a tiny little corner and see how it goes. Ooh. Seems to be taking off quite a bit, unfortunately. We're back to a second step. We're gonna need to do a second step here. But I'm just gently, one step better. These areas are definitely gonna need 2 steps. I mean, there's no way around that, I think. So, all right, so that's gonna kind of dry here. All right. It says once it's dry, use a microfiber to buff this area. So I'm gonna use one of these little guys that I had, just because this is like smeary down here. Yeah, so I think this issue, I should have waited a little longer for this to dry when I put it on. So you guys get raw applications here. This is my little pro tip here. I don't know if you're supposed to do that, but to me, it's a little easier with this little, yeah. So make sure you leave enough paint on it too. Like, I know it seems a little like you're globbing it up here, but we're gonna level it. So if you don't put enough, it won't level it enough, I think is sort of the concept here. And then this area, oh shit, that's residue. All right, so I cleaned it, but I didn't realize this is like PPF residual All right, so that's not an issue. There's just this one right here. Start the timer or stopwatch. And while this is drying, it says 2 to 5 minutes. So after 2 or 3 minutes, we'll take a pass at it. Moral of the story, don't leave PPF on your car for 20 years. That's just weird to do that, but I think that does make sense. All right. Don't forget you got paint on your finger now. It's sort of a weird thing, but okay. So we're going to level, whatever you want to call it. I'm not sure I love this, honestly. All right, so I'm not so good at the brush method, but this is the area where I would definitely recommend this painting pen with just the paint to fill them in. I like to fill them in more. I just feel like it works better if you have just a chip. Can do a little test spot on this tape. It's coming out, it's very little, but I drank a bunch of coffee this morning, so not the best idea. I'm shaking. Idiot. Perfect. This thing is so much better. For chips, I would do this every day over the other one. It will not be perfectly flat with the paint, so keep that in mind. That is one reason they want you to do the other way. All right, so this is the method. You just start from this side, and then, oh look. All right guys, we are done with the Dr. Color chip repair. I sort of emphasize in this, I'm not very good at like the smear method or whatever. I don't know if it's me or just the system isn't really that great in general, but I definitely prefer that painting pen, which I'll put a link in the description. Let me give you a quick walk around. I essentially did 2 full passes of the car and then maybe 3 of like the problem areas that had the paint ripped up from the PPF. So let me give you a walk around and then we will close out the video. All right, so of course on camera, you know, any vehicle looks better than it is in real life, but I will give you a walk around anyways. You guys can see there are still signs of chips, right? So this system, any system I would say is not going to eliminate a rock chip 100%. A lot of them get it, so it really hides it, which is ideal. And then some systems are just really not that great, but it's just a, you know, walk around. One of the biggest things is the fact that the rock chip, of course, is a different color than the paint. So it creates that contrast that really, you notice it with your eye. So like on a black car with like rock chips that are kind of white, you notice them more on like this car, for example. But I got a lot of the mirror kind of figured out here. If you look really close, you'll see a few, but otherwise, you know, it's pretty good. Again, the best, most sufficient solution is to get it resprayed, but of course that's a lot more involved, a lot more money and stuff like that. So for now, this is a good solution. So here is this area, a lot less noticeable. Still there with a light, you know, we're crouching down. And the other sort of argument I have is with a lower area, it's a lower part. It's a lower part on your field of view. So if it was right on the hood or something, you would just be staring at it all the time. But since it's a lower rocker, you know, for what that's worth, it's not nearly as noticeable walking around. But yeah, so, you know, I can just kind of narrate the walk around the car. Here is a section. It's hard to see. There you go with that, right? So it's still there. No matter what solution you use, you will see something. I'm just really bad with the other, the sort of the swiping method. The painting pen is much easier for me, so that's just what I ended up doing. Yeah, so anyways, a few of these lower portions looked way worse. This one looks a lot better after the chips. And then the hood is such a big area. Really just go through it 2 or 3 times and then just make your way, you know, on one side and then make your way on the other, and then you'll get a lot of them. All right, so that's gonna do it for the rock chip repair. Again, just know that this is a repair and it's sort of a band-aid to, you know, not respraying. It depends on your budget and kind of what type of vehicle it is. You know, like my Raptor, I may respray part of it, but what I'm trying to get at here is everyone has kind of a different level that they want to get their car on. For me, this is a little more detailed, so at least for now it looks pretty good. And then, you know, the 5 to 10 foot view of the car is fixed tremendously, and it makes it look a lot cleaner. And then we get the coating on next, and then this car will be in such better condition. So anyways, stay tuned for more. Check out the other videos on this M5, and I will see you guys next time.